Once upon a time, on Valentine's Day, a young couple, Sarah and Mark, decided to spend a romantic evening at a remote, abandoned manor rumored to be haunted. Despite warnings from locals, they were drawn to the mystery and excitement of exploring the eerie mansion. As they stepped inside, the air grew colder, and the atmosphere felt suffocatingly heavy. Ignoring their unease, they wandered through the dimly lit corridors, guided only by the flickering candlelight. Suddenly, they heard a faint whisper echoing from the shadows. Ignoring it as a trick of their imagination, they pressed on, their curiosity overpowering their fear. But as they ventured deeper into the manor, strange things began to happen. Objects moved on their own, and ghostly apparitions appeared in the corners of their vision, disappearing as quickly as they came. Their unease turned to terror when they stumbled upon a room adorned with decaying Valentine's Day decorations. Creepy dolls lined the shelves, their glassy eyes following their every move. Just as they were about to flee, they heard a blood-curdling scream pierce the silence. Racing towards the sound, they found themselves in a sinister ballroom where a ghostly couple danced in eternal torment. Realizing they were trapped in the grip of the manor's dark power, Sarah and Mark desperately searched for a way out. But the more they struggled, the tighter the manor's hold became. With each passing moment, the boundary between the living and the dead blurred, and they realized they were not alone. The spirits of past Valentine's Day victims lurked in the shadows, hungering for new souls to join their cursed ranks. As the night wore on, Sarah and Mark's hope dwindled, their fate sealed within the haunted manor's walls. Forever trapped in a nightmare of love turned to horror, they became just another tragic tale of Valentine's Day gone wrong. And so, the legend of the haunted manor lived on, a cautionary tale for those who dared to seek romance in the darkness of the unknown.
In a small, picturesque town nestled in the mountains, Valentine's Day was always celebrated with great enthusiasm. The streets were adorned with heart-shaped decorations, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of roses. But beneath the surface of this idyllic setting lurked a darkness that few dared to acknowledge. The story begins with Emily and James, a young couple deeply in love. They had been together since high school and were the envy of their friends and neighbors. Every Valentine's Day they would exchange lavish gifts and profess their undying love for each other. However, this Valentine's Day was different. Emily had been acting strangely for weeks. Her once bright eyes now filled with a haunting emptiness. James tried to brush it off, attributing it to stress at work or the pressures of daily life. On the morning of Valentine's Day, James woke up to find Emily missing from their bed. Frantic, he searched the house, calling out her name, but she was nowhere to be found. Panicked, he called the police, fearing the worst. As the hours passed with no sign of Emily, James's desperation grew. He retraced their steps, visiting all their favorite spots in town, but still, there was no trace of her. Then, as night fell and the town grew quiet, James received a chilling message on his phone. It was a video from an unknown number, showing Emily tied to a chair in a dark, dingy room. Her eyes were wide with fear as a masked figure loomed over her, whispering sinister promises of eternal love. James felt his blood run cold as he realized the depth of the horror unfolding before him. With the help of the police, James traced the origin of the video to an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. As they entered the dilapidated building, the stench of decay filled the air, and James's heart pounded in his chest. In the dim light of the moon, they found Emily, pale and trembling, but alive. She recounted her harrowing ordeal, describing how she had been abducted by a deranged stalker who claimed to love her more than anything in the world. The nightmare was finally over, but the scars it left behind would never heal. As James held Emily in his arms, He knew that their once perfect love had been tainted by the darkness that lurked in the shadows of their town. And so, as Valentine's Day came to a close, the town mourned the loss of innocence, knowing that love could be the sweetest of gifts or the deadliest of curses.
In the small town of Cedar Grove, Valentine's Day was supposed to be a day filled with love and joy. But for one couple, Sophia and Michael, it would become a nightmare they would never forget. It all started innocently enough. Sophia and Michael had been together for 3 years, deeply in love and looking forward to celebrating their relationship on Valentine's Day. Michael had planned a romantic dinner at their favorite restaurant, followed by a moonlit walk in the park. As they enjoyed their meal, Sophia noticed a strange man sitting alone at a table across the room. He wore a tattered trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat that obscured his face. Something about him sent shivers down her spine, but she tried to dismiss it as paranoia. After dinner, they headed to the park, hand in hand. But as they strolled along the dimly lit path, they heard footsteps echoing behind them. They turned around, but there was no one there. Sophia's heart raced as they quickened their pace, the feeling of being watched growing stronger with each step. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows ahead. It was the man from the restaurant, his hat pulled low over his eyes. He staggered toward them, mumbling incoherently under his breath. Michael stepped in front of Sophia protectively, but the man lunged at them with surprising speed. In the struggle that followed, Michael managed to push the man away, but not before he pulled out a gleaming knife. Sophia screamed as Michael wrestled with their attacker, the blade flashing in the moonlight. Desperate to escape, they ran blindly through the darkness, the sound of their pursuers' laughter echoing behind them. They finally reached the safety of their car and sped away, hearts pounding and hands trembling. It wasn't until they were safely home that they realized they were covered in blood. In the chaos of the struggle, Michael had been cut, his arm stained crimson with his own blood. Shaken and terrified, Sophia and Michael called the police and reported the attack. But when the authorities arrived at the park, there was no sign of their assailant. He had vanished into the night, leaving behind only a trail of terror and confusion. In the days that followed, Sophia and Michael couldn't shake the feeling that they were still being watched. They installed security cameras around their home and took self-defense classes, determined to never be caught off guard again. But despite their best efforts, the memory of that horrific Valentine's Day lingered like a dark shadow over their relationship. They would never forget the terror they had experienced, and they knew that some scars could never fully heal.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Creepy Sunday channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Creepy Sunday for more content like this, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, take care and keep spreading the positivity. Bye for now.